There's a wonderful new collection called What Matter is Void. It's part of the museum collection, and we're going to talk all about it. But first, this is like our opportunity to really get to know everybody here. And by the way, we have so many visuals, your eyes are going to pop out of your head. But we want to understand this collaboration with Note Design Studio with Sancal, which has been many years in the making too. We have collections together, and also how it kind of gets to New York and filters in through our wonderful friend Dominic. Okay, so first, Note Design Studio, how are you?
We're doing fine. I mean, we'd rather be in New York or in Murcia, actually, because like fall is coming here. Winter is close.
Yeah, I would rather be with all of you, but this will have to do. But this is a really great opportunity because again, our design friends who are specifying your product know the work. They don't necessarily know you, but explain the team and how you work together.
I mean, we are a multidisciplinary studio, and we started back in 2008. I mean, with a humble ambition to become basically the best design studio in the world. But it doesn't really mean that. It's just a way to push ourselves to be brave and do new things and be more curious than ever. Mm. But the image here, we're actually 18 now. This is 3 years old.
Yeah.
But we don't have a recent image since the pandemic stopped us from being in the same room.
Mm. But can I just say, you guys, isn't it kind of unfair that they all are like so gorgeous?
Yes. I was just noticing the same thing, Cindy. I was like,
I mean, come on. I mean, really.
Better looking than the next. Totally.
Yeah, it's really very, very unfair. But okay, we'll give it to you.
Thank you.
And wait, how many years are you together?
Started in 2008.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have worked here for 5 years, and you've been here since the beginning, pretty much.
Yeah.
Got it. Well, I want people to see the variety because the work is so good, so powerful, so much style. But I'll ask you about certain type of work, and then you can maybe take us through it a little bit. I have some images of exhibition work that you do that's really kind of fantastic.
This was an exhibition for Target in Milano in 2019. So this was our interior architect colleagues who really worked with working with this material that we designed for taquettes and using different sculptures to show how you can use this material.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually a good project to show what Note is capable of, where we designed the material, we designed the exhibition, we designed the folders and the event and everything. So, I mean, we did the graphic design, the design direction, the design strategy, the architecture and the product itself. I think that's it's a good example of how we like to work at Note. We have so many disciplines within Note, and we like to cross these disciplines and skill sets of all the people in the studio. So I think this is a great example of a project from us.
Can I ask? I saw this and I was like, wow, we should really kick it off with this. Can I ask how it actually started? What were the first types of projects when you started, and then how it grew?
You mean this particular project, or
no, in general, the studio.
How did it start?
Do you remember? Because I see that graphics and branding is also very, very strong, but did that come later? Did product design come first? How did it work?
No, actually interior design came first, but we decided to we had an interior designer, we had an architect, we had me as a product designer. So I think when we started off as an interior design studio, but we decided that we wanted to create our own design language and have that as a product itself to approach new clients. So we made an exhibition called Marginal Notes, and this was, 12 years ago.
Oh, really?
That exhibition, and we funded ourselves. We took all the profit that we had from the first year and put that into this exhibition. And that exhibition became so well known, and a lot of those products came into production. And the ideas from that exhibition was the notes in the margin of the notebook. I mean, the products that can never be realized. They were like too expressive, they don't have like a proper function, but they actually came into production. So that was the trigger where we started doing product design. And when we started with product design, we realized that we can take better pictures than the clients at that time, than our clients at the time. So we started taking the pictures and did the graphic design. So I think that everything like evolved organically during those like first 5 years.
That's beautiful. And so interiors, you started working on projects. We have up some interiors that you're working on right now and share. And I love this sort of before and after, because this is so you. Look to the right, everyone. That's Note Design.
Yeah. So we don't say that we don't like the idea of having like a note expression, but some things that we're really strong and like is colors and materials. So this is a good example of that, how much color can do. Yeah, this is a retail store, Gina Tricot in Stockholm, where we used our Tonella chairs for Sancal in the small cafe.
And that's actually like a good receipt for product design in the studio, where, I mean, we always use the art. When we're like 5 to 6 of us in the product design team, but we're always in the groups, in the team, when we approach a new design, we use the architects or the product designer, graphic designers or design strategists as like mini focus groups in the process. So we bounce idea towards the architects. I mean, we know the architects are the ones who actually use the products in the end anyway. Exactly. So it's really good. I mean, it's a good like receipt that they are actually
editor. You couldn't ask for better. But Dominic, too, are you finding that folks are wanting color in their upholstered pieces, in their furniture?
I think, I think there's definitely a movement towards color. I think people are looking for some joy. You know, we've all been cooped up at home for the last year and a half, and people are looking for things that are a little bit more lively. It's hard for us in the showroom to show things in color because oftentimes people can't see past it, and we tend to show things in a more neutral palette. But we're seeing more and more people mixing colors, which is great.
By the way, that's a fair statement. Maybe more in America too. That like you want to show it so they might say, and I know some friends who would say, I definitely want it in color. But Esther and Elena, how has it been for you? Just in terms of look at you, look what you're wearing.
More freedom. We have the big, the heavy. Waste of the factory in our bags, but we are also free because we are not designing houses or restaurants or real spaces. We just design like windows to show our products. So in the fair or in a photo shooting, we can speculate more with color just to inspire the interior designers. So this is what we try to do, to push the boundaries of color, just to show that many other things are possible. Then of course you get inspired and maybe are not so radical. Maybe you just add a little, but we try to show the more we can.
Possibilities,
yeah. And then joy, I think it's very, very important, as Dominic said, because this is our motto in the factory in Sancal. Our brand try to find the happiness with the interior design, with the product, because in the end, where we are surrounded in our house or in our places, can make us happier and feel better. So
wait, I want everyone to, because so Amy's gonna pull the factory shots up, but Christopher, I want, you guys were the ones who we're talking about, look, we've been in a lot of factories, you've never seen something like this. So tell us about how good that made you feel about them.
Well, yeah, this is the head office, this nice window, and we decided when the brand was 40 years old, we were thinking about to celebrate, and with that we had many different meetings and ideas and how to celebrate. But in the end, we said, okay, we are 40, we are quite old, so we need some retouches, and we can make ourselves a present. So we give a present to the factory and to the people inside. And also we wanted to, when you make tattoos, we want to make graffitis all around the factory, and this brings this joy to us.
That's so beautiful.
So
Esther, that's so beautiful. And but I wouldn't have known, except Christopher, tell us, you're the one who said, you guys were saying, oh my God, the factory.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, I can only agree with Esther. It's something that, I mean, it's quite rare coming to a factory where everything is so thought through, that it's actually like a place to be innovative. It's a place that completely encourages happiness and
where the brand shines through even in walls of the factory.
Yeah, Malin, you were talking about it too. This is unbelievable.
Yeah. This is so different from the common factory, and it's so positive and it's so colorful and playful. So I can really understand if you get happy when you work there, and that you like.
I mean, everybody should go there just for a factory review.
I love this. I see miracles and hope.
Oh yeah. This is the last graffiti we did, and because we had a factory, and then we 5 years ago, maybe 4, the pandemic. 5 or 4. We get bigger. So in the new building, we work a lot. We have a new showroom, or everybody's invited to come. And with that new construction, we suffer a lot. So in the end, we said, okay, what do we do here? And we had angustias is like angst,
worries,
miracles and hope. So this is what we do every day in our work. So we suffer.
I love that. Angustias, milagros y esperanza. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So and people working there say, okay, it's true. It's what we do every day.
Well, bravo to you guys. Honestly, it's fantastic. Okay, so wait, we're getting up to the new collection, but there's a little bit more. I know that you guys also do a lot of product design, and at different scales too, which is also amazing for a designer to have that ability to get those kind of projects.
Yeah, actually, me and Christopher are working pretty much only as product and furniture designers, together with 3 other colleagues. So that's one part of the studio, even though we try to work, there's no borders, but you have your specialty normally. So yeah, this is cutlery for the National Museum in Stockholm. And then you have a bathroom series with cabinets. So we really work with all kinds of from the small objects to the big one, even kitchens.
Wait, can I back up for a second, Amy? Can I just say that I'm kind of crazy for anything perforated or dotty, if you can't tell, but I love that perforated metal. I just love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thanks.
You're okay, thanks.
No, but this is for Haven, a quite new company here in Sweden. So we wanted to do something, because actually the bathroom business is quite, how do you say that? Conservative in a way. So even these small switching materials and working really follow through on the material choices and everything really made a difference and became really popular. So yeah. Other people perforated
That's wonderful. And then I think you also did a line of hardware. And let's talk about these sketches and how it always starts, that hand, because so much is done on the computers these days, but I can tell these are hand drawings.
Yeah, these are my hand drawings.
Your hand drawing, Marlon, gorgeous.
But that we've actually talked about that, like talking about the process, that especially in the product design team, we use the hand drawing skill all the time, every day, because it's so good, like it's so open for interpretation and for discussion, instead of like using a render, which we do later in the process. But in an early stage, there's nothing that can compete with a hand sketch.
And I think you have a point there. I mean, if we would do the first sketches in 3D, everything is so absolute, so definite. Right. So there's nothing to discuss. But if we would just use these like hand sketches, it's so easy to share ideas with the team. So we can be like 5 people. We can like sketch online as well to different softwares. So we can just add and add, or remove, add. So it's really like a positive process.
Amazing. Wait, can I ask you, so how are you finding really young designers with not a lot of experience coming into your studio, that maybe it's more the norm for them to just go right to the computer?
I mean, I have never encountered that. The most people that actually try to push their way into product design, I think they are like quite driven in hand sketching. Yeah,
that's true.
But something really important is also that it has nothing to do with being good at sketching. It's only like, can you communicate through your sketches?
Yeah.
So like the childish sketch that says what it needs to say. Like it's more about getting the thoughts from your head to like the paper. So I think people have to like dare to sketch to be in the team, but it doesn't have to be like a beautiful sketch. It shouldn't be a beautiful sketch in the beginning.
No, I mean, the rougher or more, the more it conveys the identity and idea, it offers even more possibility to interpret or add new ideas to it. It's just a tool, just the first tool of the trade.
No, I love that, and it's a great message, because even I'm around a lot. I see and meet with a lot of students too, and just everything you can do on the computer is too perfect. It's too perfect, and as you say, you need to start with something that you can make not beautiful to try to figure out an answer, right, to solve the problem. But so I got so excited when I saw all the hand sketches. Let's see if we go to, let's see the final of this. Who's this collection for?
It's also for Haven, the cabinets.
Yes, the handles that can be used.
Who did you do the kitchen cabinets for?
The kitchen is for Reform.
Reform, because that's doing really well in the States. Amy, if you can pull that one up. And that there's this beautiful edging on the front of the cabinet that's really lovely. Amy, do you see that? Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Also quite bold colors on this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it's just a matter of finding the right balance between just enough design. I mean, it should be expressive, but also minimalistic. We have that sort of an expressive minimalism where everything needs the balance. If it's too much, it's just too much. So I think we're always trying to find that balance between something that is minimalistic enough yet expressive.
Can I ask the two of you, what's the thing that you give each other?
I would say that you're more technical than me. You have more experience with the industry.
Yeah, maybe.
While I'm maybe more.
I mean, you're never tied down to one idea.
No.
I mean, you can sketch. I mean, a normal person. I think that you can sometimes get stuck on an idea. And I think Malin never gets stuck on an idea. She can basically just do a new sketch, something completely different. And then, no, try again. It's an outcome, something completely different again.
I love that. That's actually, Malin, quite a talent, because, we hold on to our ideas sometimes too tightly, right? And it keeps from other things happening.
Yeah, I can do that too, but.
Of course you can. You're a designer. Of course you can. We're going to talk about this sofa in a second, but this particular beautiful image is about rugs, which is also kind of cool. Mm-hmm. That's a whole different other skill.
Yeah. This is a new launch for Ogeborg, a Swedish carpet brand. That is it's supposed to be a base. A carpet is usually a base in the room, but also with a lot of expression. So it's also about that balance, like how can we make a pattern that is endless and like symmetrical in that way that it can be a good base, but still expressive on its own. And we love this art direction. There's also our little table for Foglia, and this art direction with the void matter sofa.
Yeah.
That we have.
We're gonna get to that. We're doing this is your history of Note Design Studio. There's a beautiful bench that is not upholstered, that's in wood and metal.
That was part of an competition for new outdoor pieces for the Woodland Cemetery in Stockholm. So we teamed up with Gunilla Lard, a Swedish,
well-known.
Yeah, really well-known designer. As we teamed up with her and designed this outdoor bench. We didn't win, but it turned out really good.
Hey, sometimes those are the ones that come back around. Do you know what I mean? So it's nice to have those opportunities, even if you don't win. How about, there's a few great images of the process of something that's very difficult, which is a very simple wood chair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is the Candid dining chair for Silvio Aldo, an small Italian brand. And yeah, here you see this super simple early sketches on the left. Not even a whole chair, just the meeting or the detail that we want to communicate. And then you see a more finalized sketch on the right. And yeah, this chair was all about working with angles, catching the light, making it as thin as possible, especially for the eye as well.
And again, we had a mini internal focus group with the architects, and one of the feedback during this process was that, if we are designing an interior that is really sharp, hard, crispy, blocky, then we need a chair that is equally sharp and distinct in its shapes. So why don't you do that sort of chair?
Yeah, it was actually a lack, something that the interior architect missed. So they asked us to actually design it, and then it matched with a brief from that company at the same time.
I love that. And here's a chair. Don't you think it's kind of crazy when you think about how many chairs there are in the world and how specific designers can be about what they need and what is missing, right?
Yeah. That's true.
Point.
Yeah, I always kind of joke around. Dominic, don't you think the same way? I always think if you say A, B, C, they definitely say D, E, F, G, always.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
We have a running joke every time we try to anticipate what somebody is going to want or need. We're wrong. Absolutely. So I totally agree with you. And I agree that, just when you think you've seen the last chair that could have possibly been designed, someone like Note comes up with something new and fresh, and it's amazing. And I also, Christopher, I love that sentiment of expressive minimalism. It's a great term. I love that.
There you go. So new term, new chair, new term. I do want to talk about your, before we get to the new stuff, I do want to talk about your relationship. Esther, tell us about, so I think it was in 2015 was the first time you all got together, and the Tonella, which is a beautiful collection. So these are two collections that we know very well in the States because they were very, very popular and very specified. What was your relationship? How did you find each other?
Well, I remember maybe in 2014 that Christopher and Cristiano, someone else visit us in the fair in Milan, in the Salone, and we met each other, and they introduced the studio to us, and we never worked before with a Scandinavian studio, and it was something that we wanted to, and we liked them, and we said, okay, why not? Because it was, because of that panel, I was thinking, wow, what was the point? And there was no point. It was just a feeling, because I think there are like a chemical understanding, and we really find very comfortable with Christopher and the team, and it's easy work. Easy to work with them. So we watch each other to the eyes, and we understand what we are thinking.
Do you remember a story about this first? I mean, Christopher and Malin, this must have been a big deal at the time, to work with Sancal. Can you share a story about the making of this collection?
Esther, can you remember the first brief around the Tonella?
Yes, I remember.
Because we wanted to make like a Maria Antonietta, that is a really small, tiny chair.
A classic chair.
Yeah.
Because we want to make the first furniture that Sancal did was something very different. It was in the 70s, and it was something classic. It was a very short period of time. Then our father, who founded the company, moved to more contemporary furniture, but that little chair was the starting point. So we started to work with this studio that we admire, and we said, okay, let's find something emotional to us. Let's make a tribute to the beginning of the company. So Tonella was inspired by that little old chair.
And Christopher, what's your story about it?
I actually I couldn't really remember what the exact story was, but now that they mention it, and I think we had a dinner, and you explained the concept, what you wanted to do, and we were at the vineyard in Murcia.
Yeah.
Wine barrels.
Oh, okay.
In the rest. I think that the shape of the original chair was round, and I think the most important thing with that chair was that it had a significantly small footprint. It was a really tight little chair that would fit anywhere. So I think that on the plane home, we started sketching. I think that the sketches that you had earlier in the feed of the wine barrels, those were the first page of sketches on that project. So we took inspiration from that wine barrel. So we had the shape and the silhouette from the wine barrel. So you can almost see the lines from the wooden structure in the legs coming up on the textile.
Yeah, and this space is very unusual. do you guys remember that, wow, they wanted to do, you know, this different kind of base? How, was that tricky for you to develop, and how did you feel about it?
Yeah, it was tricky in the beginning. Yeah, and yeah, we in the end there were other points. We had different sketches here, and this is the what we were what you were mentioning before, that when you have different sketches, you can think in the product and develop before the final form. So we choose several shapes here, and we try to figure out how we can put this balance inside the chair.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so we're going to move to, I mean, this one was so popular, La Isla. So this is, so you guys work together, and everybody, you know, this is what we always say, you know, to designers, is like, create these kind of relationships that are long-term relationships, and so that you can actually really develop ideas. So obviously it was successful, right? And you moved on to the La Isla.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that if I remember correctly, and this is the third project that we did together, because first we did Tonella, and then we did the Tonella Large family. And I think the brief with this project was to create an object that would fit like these really large public spaces, like waiting area.
Right.
So I think we took inspiration from, I mean, we imagine ourselves to be someone coming into like a really large waiting space, like an area, like a train station or airport or something, and where you would almost be lost at sea. You wouldn't like really know how to navigate. So we created like an island where you could like find some comfort on that little island. So I think that was the inspiration.
Moving into projects where a piece of furniture could then be developed into something for, as you said, public spaces, hospitality. This gets really exciting, and gets exciting in my world. Dominic, don't you remember this piece?
Oh, of course. And you know, it's funny that maybe the initial design was for large public spaces, but I was thinking, where have we installed this for clients before? The most recent was in a pool house out in the Hamptons.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Also, we put them in like family rooms, in lower level recreational rooms, in residential. But we've also installed them in shoe departments, in large department stores, of course, and in reception areas for offices, and usually in more like technology kind of companies. And we also have them in a juice bar. It runs the gamut. It's really, it's amazing. But it was interesting to hear the original brief, because the first project that came to mind was the pool house, which is, you can't get more residential than that.
and that's the magic, right? Exactly what you said is the magic, when there's something that can look amazing in every single like area of our industry. It's very hard to do that. Yes. But this one piece just resonated with everybody. Elena, what did you think about the fact that this just became so popular?
I think that it is interesting that it was at the beginning a product for contract. We are thinking in this kind of market.
Yeah.
And at the end, you can put it everywhere. And I think that the notes that they were saying about the simple forms is something that is really simple, but it's something different. And I think that maybe the small details make the difference. And this is quite something that you can think, okay, it's really simple, but you have to find a way to make it good.
Can I add something on there? Because I think that what Sancal adds to the products is like the the perfect execution in the detailing. And maybe that's why it also translates into residential, because it has that like super finish.
I think you're right. I think you're right, because you can see this everywhere. It used in every kind of location, but also there is something like quite beautiful, like there's a softness to something that's really big, and some big could get really bulky, but it's never that. It's like there's a thinness to the way the sections are, and I agree with you that like this kind of finishing gives it that residential feel.
Yeah, it's also soft. You see like something like a block, but it's a really comfortable foam. And also, I have to say that Note is very, for me, it's a very good designing the right proportions. So it's really big, but it's not. It's very balanced.
Yeah.
So in the end, when you see the big, this green is really big. It was the
yeah, this one's big.
Said, oh my God, are we going to do that?
Yeah.
No, in the end, it's really well shaped and proportioned.
It's kind of interesting that like some of the pieces feel like we're preparing for Void Matters, because they do feel like carved away, very sculptural, like carved away. All right, so drum roll, please, everybody. We're ready to talk about Void Matters, which is part of the Museo collection. Okay, so first of all, let's first talk about the brief. And Esther, what did you need from them? Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember that I saw this Target installation, and I like a lot this idea to have to make a table like a sculpture.
Right.
And Christopher thought about that. Then he showed me the remnant chair, and I said, okay, it's super nice. I don't know how we can develop that, but it's not a table. And then I think it was not a real brief. In the previous works with Tonela and La Isla, we had a clear idea what we wanted. In that we just wanted to do something more sculpture, but not. So I think we left them more freedom to create the family. And we are really happy to.
Yeah, look at the whole family together, everyone. This is so fantastic, so fabulous. I want every single piece. Malin, did you do the little? There's a little like kind of cartoon block that I'm sure Amy will pull up. Did you do these?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
This is for like just small illustrations of a photo shoot that we were gonna make. So I just went crazy with it.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, it's really fantastic.
It's interesting because we tried to discuss earlier like how the brief came about with this collection, and one of the things in the beginning that we remember is, I don't know if it was me, but some one of us made a super simple outline. Yeah, Christopher.
We tried to imitate it. Just before now.
Yeah.
Super simple outline. And then, so let's say I show this to Christopher, and I think I thought of it as a solid piece, like the core, for example. But then you interpreted it as a shell
or an outline
with a negative space. So that's how.
I mean, from there we started the discussion. I mean, if I interpret it as a solid object, and Malin interpreted as an outside shell product, and Carl saw something else. So we started discussing, is it a positive shape or is it a negative shape? So that was like the starting point, trying to find a way to use the negative space and putting emphasis on the negative space in a product. It's not like that common. I mean, in typo and in typography, I mean, you always use the negative space between the letters.
Totally.
You read the negative space, that's what you read. And I think it's the same thing. When you look at something on an image or in a real life setting, I think the eye is looking for contrasts, and it reads the outline of an object. So it scans the image and reads the outline. So, I mean, if I would put, I mean, we made it like a really simple illustration of it.
A 3D print, yeah.
Like a 3D print.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, this would be the object. But if I would put that on a white background, it's not going to be really easy to see. But if I put that on a white background, it would create, okay, this is not really good. But
I want that toy for me.
I know, it's so good. They're so good.
But you would automatically see the shadow because it creates its own shadow. And we started with that having in mind. So we made like larger prints and trying to figure out the best way to have that. I mean, we wanted to create an object that adds something to an interior. So the negative space in the objects make your eye like search for that silhouette.
Yeah, no, first of all, talking about it gets me really excited because, I mean, in my day job of magazines and, like you said, space between letters and shapes, and you see it as you are talking about it. You absolutely can see it. Esther, let's talk about the remnant chair, because first of all, Dominic has it behind him. I see he has it behind him, but you said, boy, this is going to be hard. So tell us why this one was a hard one.
Yeah, because it was a challenge for us to develop that light fit and stable. So you have to and also with upholstery, because we thought, okay, we can do it in plastic. You can inject plastic, but this is not the point. We are specialized in fabric, so to get the comfort and the softness that add the foam and the fabric is the point that was really difficult to have a stable structure. So yeah, we work hard on it, and we
find the way.
Christopher, you guys never say no. Hold on to the idea, the thinness. Amy, go to the next one. The thinness is just so smashing. In fact, we gave it a Best of Year award last year. I think it was last year. Was it last year, Esther?
Yeah.
But yeah. No, because it is really, really wonderful. But it is sort of interesting. Dominic, I love your perspective too on like when you said that, Esther, it makes so much sense. You said, how the heck are we going to do the thinness? This is the thing we all are so moved by with this chair. And you're like, how do we make it? Now that you say it, I imagine like falling one way or the other. That's hard.
No. The first one we did was like a jelly. It was like
I remember this video.
we
sent the first renderings, and they would start the prototyping, and then we didn't hear anything for 3 months. We were radio type, and then we heard phone calls. We did the video. And then we're radio designers again. 3 more months.
I love that. Okay, let's. So then you're like, okay, if you do this chair, we'll also design core, which will fill in the space, right?
But you had a photo before from the prototyping room.
Yeah, the two of them. Yeah.
Exactly. Because that's something that we really missed from this pandemic times. But this was the last time we were at Sancal, and this is from the prototyping room where we all were there for a full day or 2 days discussing and taking important decisions. And we really love this, seeing like this mold on to the left with a little smiley face Christopher made, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And when we saw them together, we just felt like, okay, this makes it, this contrast makes the whole collection even stronger. We want the both of them in the collection.
Yeah, but it puts even more emphasis on the difference between the positive and negative shade. So I mean, it felt like only natural that we would do both of them.
Yeah.
And did you guys, the sisters, did you guys get excited about that?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, at the end with all the results.
Yeah, could have been there.
All the collection and the concept, it was really nice.
You probably were like, we should have started with the core first and then started carving out.
This is the point that we started with remnant,
Right.
with challenge, and because it's more innovative maybe, and it's different, and it was like an icon. But then we said, okay, it's difficult to explain that without the core, the origin. So I think both of them are a good team.
There's a beautiful overhead shot that I think will show, like, oh my God. Like, so Dominic, do you have this in your studio yet, in the showroom?
We have the chair. So we have a remnant chair and a core chair. And just going back to what you said about the stability of remnant, because normally if we weren't in a pandemic, I would have seen the product in Europe during the Milan Furniture Fair.
Right.
And unfortunately, none of us got to see it. And we didn't also get to see how Sancal would have presented this collection in that kind of environment. So we all kind of missed out. Totally. In a big way. But also I only saw the product for the first time in person when it arrived here in the showroom. And I was very curious. The first thing I did was check remnant, because I thought, how can they make this strong and sturdy and inflexible?
Right.
And it is all of those things. It's really an amazing product. I mean, it's really solid.
Yeah.
It's not solid. But
it's not solid. It's solid, but it's not solid.
Actually void, but it is solid.
Yeah, for anybody like looking over Dominic's left shoulder, there it is. And it really is beautiful. It's a sculpture. It's solid. You can sit in it.
Right. That kind of solid, yes.
So when you guys were talking about this idea of, what is void and what is not. So this whole series of tables, it looks like you are in your element, sort of playing with this idea. And it seems to work in all these different sizes and shapes too.
Yeah, but I think we did encounter like a big problem during the process, and that was basically to limit the amount of ideas coming through to Esther and Elena. I mean, the foundation for the idea and the concept was so big, so we could basically fill that with so many different ideas. I mean, of tables and chairs and poofs. And I mean, if we start to investigate that void matter thesis, I mean, we could do basically anything. So right now we settled on the first. I mean, how many products are there in the collection, including the vases? I mean, it must be like.
Those vases are beautiful.
Yeah, because we did the ceramic pieces.
I love those.
They are beautiful.
Yeah, that were made locally outside of Murcia. I can't. But so we did that sort of too, because we had played around so much with this, the forms in the negative space. So we just felt like we could make just like sculptural objects describing the concept.
Yeah.
And they were supposed to be used in the stand as well.
Yeah.
In Milan.
And this was before we even knew about the pandemic, of course. So I think the ceramic series was almost like an epilogue or a summary of the project overall.
Esther, part of a collection is in the editing of the collection, yet there's so many, there's so many beautiful options, it's kind of hard to say no, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's hard to say no. That's good. Christopher and Malin are like, yes, it's hard for them to say no. I just wanted to show some of the ceramic pieces so you can see them. You can see them there, and it feels like a family. It feels very animated. The pieces are beautiful, but they do have a life. Like they feel like they should be named people or something. I don't know. That's just me. Okay, Amy, let's go back to the table. So the table, I thought this was interesting too, because you showed it also as thinking home office as a desk, which is also, you could see that it really, really works well. And then then a lower, I believe, like a coffee table version. But the profile, because it's nice. Think about it, everyone out there, like they're carving away. So they were showing it like overhead looking down at it, right? Looking at it as a piece and then looking like right through it. Like, look how beautiful that is. Dominic, do you have these tables? Are you getting these tables?
Unfortunately, we don't have it. It's for a technical reason. They're a new, I'll try to keep this brief, but there are new formaldehyde guidelines for importing product into the United States, and Sancal can't yet make it in any finish other than lacquer. And I think the table is so simple that the material really plays an important part. And I think it will lose something in only lacquer. And so we haven't shown it yet because we're hoping that we can find a solution to show it in wood and also in the other material.
Okay, well, we're going to cross our fingers that happens.
Yeah, it's coming soon.
Because the two sisters are not, I can tell you right now, they're not going to let you down.
Oh, I know.
I want to go into the last piece of it, the individuals. There you go. So just when you thought you had more than you could ever use, then you're like looking at these and you're like, oh my God, I need these too. These are amazing. So where did these fall into the development? You could see that the core and the remnant was sort of developed at the same time. How did this happen?
I think it was like one of the sketches that we sent, and then you made an early prototype of it, and then we were all like playing around with it in the prototyping room at Sancal.
Yeah, that's right.
And then just ideas kept like popping. Should we have a high one? Should we have a low one? So I think it like was hands-on in the prototyping room.
I think that the high stool there, it was actually the piece carved out from the coffee table.
Mm-hmm.
So that became stool, and then we thought that we could make a poof surrounding the stool.
Yeah.
And I think the poof was actually part of a leg frame for a table in the beginning. So I think everything just came together. It was so many different ideas from the beginning. So we just tried to curate it to limit the amount of pieces in the end.
Beautiful. It's beautiful. And Esther, what is it like as you're actually like say, oh my God, we have it, like it's working, and then the next thing happens, like what is that like in the factory when you've got it?
Wow, it's very difficult to explain, but I will try. Yeah, it's maybe it's like angustias milagros, and
yes, yeah. There we go.
Because you suffer a lot.
Yes.
And, the point is that maybe, and I have to thank the pandemic. It's the only nice thing we get, that we get more time to make things a little bit slower, because when we finish a product and we are happy with it, we are not enjoying it anymore because we are developing more new products. So it's like a very speed way to work, and now we have the more time to present it slower, and we are really happy with that collection. In fact, we presented a bigger, more products together with Void Matters, and we call the whole collection is called Museo, and this is we wanted to show that furniture and design can also be like more artistic. Void Matters helps us to explain that feeling. So yeah, we're very happy.
and we're back all together for a sec before we leave. Dominic, tell me what bringing important pieces from a company like Sancal, from amazing designers like Note, what is that like as, an American, New York guy bringing in things to share with our very important design community?
Yeah. I mean, personally, it's a dream come true. I mean, It's amazing. I worked for other European companies before starting my own business, and I would go to the fair every year, multiple fairs, but especially at the Milan Fair, and see all of this incredible product that had no distribution in the United States. And it just made no sense to me. And that's where the idea to create the LEPERE showroom came from. And I mean, the thing about it is it's a very aesthetically, it's a very different thing than American design. I mean, I'm bringing something to New York and elsewhere that it's coming to design from a very different perspective.
Yeah.
And there's always something new. There's always something exciting. Sancal is besides the amazing design that they create with designers like the Note Studio, the support that we get from them in our working relationship is so strong. And it's exciting. I have to say, I always look forward to seeing not only the products that they're going to introduce next. As Esther was saying, it's always, you don't look back. You're always looking forward to what the next thing is. But it's also to see the way that they present it, because it's always really, really unique. And our designers here really respond to that. In fact, I came to Sancal I was on a sales call at a large design firm, and after the presentation, the designer said, I think you would really like this brand, who we really like, but there's nowhere to buy it. They don't have representation in New York right now. And the designer connected me with the export manager, and that's how I met Sancal. And it's been great. It's been a wonderful relationship for the past, I think it's about 7 or 8 years now already.
Amazing. Well, first of all, I have to say, so for all of you guys, we know Dominic for a long time, and when he was a salesperson and then a sales manager and working for other companies. And I think it's that, like you said, your eyes were open also because you were working for brands like global brands, and then you knew to hit the right fairs and have those kind of relationships that we were not surprised when you started your own business, and also that your attention to like bringing in the right thing that you had, it's also amazing editor's eye. So we love Dominic, and that he has brought Sancal to the States, to Note Design Studio. So Christopher and Marlene, thank you so much for all you do. We just get excited by what you're developing, your sensitivity and your passion for getting things right. We appreciate it. We appreciate you. And we just get really, really excited to see what you're doing next. Then when you see the relationship between a manufacturer like Sancal, the two sisters, you blow my mind, you guys. I'm like so excited that the next time we're going to meet, it's going to be big hugs all around. And I want to see that factory. But even just sharing that, your spirit and, wanting things to be joyful and happy, and everybody in your company that you want to, I want to thank you too. And then to my dear friend Dominic, you're amazing and we love you. I would do anything for you, as you know. So what matters is void. Okay, wait, I have to say this because this was so beautiful. Augustias, milagros y esperanza. Worries, miracles and hope, and that's what we gets through to us as we push forward to design. Want to thank everybody today. We're going to be blasting this out to everyone. People are going to be really enjoying it. So go forth and design, everyone. Thank you so much. Sending love to all of you. Can't wait to see you in person. Cindy Allen, Editor-in-Chief of Interior Design, and that's what's new and what's next at 200 Lex.